Hello and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I'm Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez.
Hail Lord Zedd.
Hail Lord Zedd.
Hail Lord Zedd.
Remember when we did that episode of Morphin Mania all those years ago now? No, it feels like it was that long. Remember when we did that? And we did that episode where everybody gets hypnotized and they're all walking around saying Hail Lord Zedd, and I mistakenly thought that Bulk and Skull said Hail Lord Bread, but it never happens.
Yeah, that's one of those false memories that we all have from our childhood. At least I do.
Yeah, and everybody wants, what is that, Mandela effect? Everybody wants to say that's Mandela effect, but that's not what that is. Like, if a bunch of us thought that, but it never happened, but if it's just one person, it's not Mandela effect, but people don't understand what that means.
Yeah, no, I distinctly have a memory of Spider-Man, of Tobey Maguire sewing his Spider-Man suit in that montage where he's drawing it.
Wow.
And, that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. It's like Hollywood shipped it to him.
Yeah.
Well, folks, tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing the Lord Zedd tribute show because, unfortunately, and I'm so bummed about it, Robert Axelrod passed away this week from complications after a spinal surgery, and he was 70 years old, and he's no longer with us, and I was like, we've got to do a Power Rangers show. DJ and I have been kicking around doing some kind of Power Rangers show for a long time because, partly because we're not doing Morphin Mania right now, although we have an announcement to make about that a little bit later, and I'll let DJ do. I'll let DJ make the announcement.
Oh, cool.
But we've been looking for an excuse to do it anyway, and Lord Zedd's one of my absolute favorite villains, and I've been kicking around doing some kind of a tribute. I thought about writing something, and then I was like, whatever I write is going to sound like really overly deep and pretentious. There's not a lot to Lord Zedd, but I love him. I love his look. I love the voice. I love that he finally brought a little bit of menace for that show. This looks too scary for that show. And that's a lot of what I loved about that character. And that voice was unlike anything else before or since. And Axelrod was amazing as a voice actor, and a really nice, sweet guy. I got to meet him back at Power Morphicon in 2016. DJ and I are gonna go, and I gotta tell you guys this story too, because it really sucks. So I had Robert Axelrod sign this pocket watch that I got at Power Morphicon, and he signed the back of it. And the signature is no longer there. It wiped off after a few months, and it seemed fine for the first several months. In fact, the pen he used initially smudged real bad, and I brought it back to him, and he was really super nice about it and signed a second one. We had to get like a second clasp from the person that sold me that pocket watch. There's something wrong with the back of it. I can't remember what the whole thing was. But anyway, he was really cool at no charge. He signed it again. So I had the man sign it twice, and I don't have his signature now. It really sucks. And at Morphicon, I've shown this on camera before, but one of the things I really like to do at conventions is try to get original pieces and sketch covers. And I got the sketch cover done, and I think it's my favorite of the sketch covers that I've had done, this Lord Zedd. And man, if only I had gotten this done first, and then asked him to sign it after that. But sadly, it did not work out that way. And so I have met Robert Axelrod. I bought like 4 or 5 Lord Zedd things at that convention. Do not have his signature now.
Was he in the video at all that you made?
No, he didn't look like he was feeling great. He's had health issues for a long time, and I didn't want to bother him with that, so I didn't ask him to put him on camera or anything. I didn't want to be that guy.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had, and then I probably wouldn't feel as bad with the signature thing. It's like, well, at least you got to talk to the man and meet him, and you have evidence of it. But I did talk to him, and I mean, not extensively, not a long time. Several other people at convention I spent a lot of time with, but Bulk spent a lot of time with. We got him on camera for 15 minutes. I just trained a camera on him, and he started talking, and I didn't even ask him if he'd mind filming. So I was filming, and there he was, and I turned my camera, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of filming this actor without permission, and he just starts playing to the camera. He just starts talking, he just starts messing around playing for the camera, and I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna keep filming. And anyway, it was kind of the most fun I've ever had at a convention. I think it's the best show I've ever been to. And DJ and I are gonna go again next year. I have committed to it now because DJ has already bought his costume, and so I kind of have to.
Yeah, I haven't talked about this.
No, you haven't.
I bought my first custom cosplay, guys. It was on a huge sale, like half off, I think. It was only like, well, okay, I'm gonna say only, but this is still really expensive and probably a stupid purchase. But it was $650. It was like a flash sale they were doing. And
Man,
I think they're normally like over 1,000. So I was really excited about it. I got the
I can't believe
Blue
you spent that
Ranger.
kind of money. That's amazing.
I got the Blue Ranger Sestro from the Alien Rangers, which is the Kaku Ranger Sentai. So no one else is probably going to care about that suit, but I think those are the coolest looking suits. I love the ninja aesthetic, and that's my favorite color is the light blue, which there's not that many light blue Rangers. So
Okay, but
I'm really
if
excited.
if the girl that played the White Ranger is there, and I can't remember her name right now, she will give you like a big giant hug, and she will want you to be in her booth for like as long as you can be there. I hope she's there again, and I'm sure she will be. She was one of my favorite people that we put on camera when I was at
Yeah,
MorphCon, but that'll be a big
Paul
deal.
Schreier's there.
Yeah, Schreier's always there.
Okay.
So
He seems
unless
well.
he's having some kind of problems, he'll be there. I'm sure. Yeah, Schreier's awesome. But anyway, so let's see lots of folks in the chat there. There's Dave Atkins, Adam Howard, Butale's there, Blue Dragon 5 is there. Who else? Mr. Roboto, John Ty, lots of folks. Good to see everybody. How's it going? So yeah, tonight, Power Rangers, Lord Zedd, kudos to anybody who manages to come up with actual Lord Zedd questions. This is not a character that again is super deep and has a whole lot of background and character motivation and stuff to talk about and speak of. But I will be very impressed if people come up with stuff to say. I always felt like there was potential for that character to have some real dimension, and I always wanted to write an origin for that character. But I'm not a big fanfic guy. I've got a whole thing that I came up with years ago, but I've never written it down anywhere. And so anyway, if folks have stuff about that character specifically, kudos to you, and I look forward to hearing them and talking about that, but Power Rangers in general, and we'll also talk about anything you guys want to talk about in general tonight as well, but I mostly want to make this a Power Rangers kind of tribute show and talk about specifically the character of Zedd, if at all possible, to celebrate Robert Axelrod, and so bummed out that he has passed away. Let's go ahead. Lamar Finesse, I don't think we're ever told what planet Lord Zedd is from, or if there's anybody else that looks like him, or if, I always assumed
Just
that
his son.
something, yeah, and only slightly.
He looks half like him.
Yeah, and what I always figured was that he didn't look anything like Lord Zedd, but then just prophetically something a lot like whatever happened to Lord Zedd's skin happened to part of his, and he had like a two-face thing.
Yeah.
What is that guy's name? I can't remember right now.
I have no idea. I've only seen that episode once. It's cool that Adam came back, though.
It is, but that is a weird episode.
Yeah.
It's very strange. They
My
were
favorite
trying...
thing is that they didn't get a Red Ranger, so they got the Green Ranger from SPD, but then they made up this thing where he like got promoted to Red Ranger. I don't know if that's actually in canon in SPD or if...
Thrax, that's his name. Thanks, guys.
Yes, there he is.
There you go. I should also mention that DJ and I are a little bit rusty and out of the loop on Power Rangers. It's been several months since we were regularly shooting Morphin Mania, and I don't know about you, but I needed a little bit of a break from the series when we decided to not keep doing that show. So I have not watched Power Rangers since then, and so I'm like, hopefully it all comes back to me as we're doing a tribute show.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we've never talked about Rangers on this show, so hopefully... And I'm getting a lot of questions, so we should probably dive right into this.
Sweet, let's go and do that. And now I'm seeing a bunch of Lord Zedd questions, so make sure we get some of those.
Yeah, yeah.
Where do you want to start? You want to start pre-written and then go to Super Chats? I'm seeing a couple of those already.
Yeah, we've already got 3 Super Chats, but I'll do a quick one here, because it's kind of just a what you think about it. Blue Dragon 5 says, how do you feel about the title Lord for a bad guy?
It's nice and menacing, and it tells you that there is... That's a character that is narcissistic and sees himself as better than everyone, and has kind of like a forced regal thing where it's like, I'm the king, I'm better than everyone, and everyone has to like bow to me. And when you have really like over the top and charismatic bad guys, that name goes well with them. We have lots of those. There's lots of lords as villains, and we have a lot of characters that don't go by Lord but have minions that call them Lord. It's a respect thing. If you can make your minions think that you deserve to rule the world or rule the universe, they should show you some respect.
They should. And let's see.
I could have gone by Lord Logan, but it sounds awful. You know, it's like
Lord Logan.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so good.
It's kind of like the rural juror.
Not the sort of alliteration you want. L's don't go great with alliteration, generally speaking.
Yeah, it kind of makes you roll get tongue twisted.
It's making DJ's face contort in all kinds of strange ways.
Lord Logan. Well, speaking of making my face do weird things, this next person is named Wooly. And he asks, DJ and Cap, did either of you watch the 25th anniversary Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode, Dimensions in Danger?
No, I have not seen that. Is that, well, wait now. Is that the one they did, is that the one they did last year? No, we're talking about Ninja Steel. Okay, not the most recent show. I can't remember. I think maybe I actually did watch that, but it wasn't great.
You watched Ninja Steel with Eric, I think.
We didn't watch all of it, though.
Okay.
We reviewed the first, because I think that happened in the second season, in the Super Ninja Steel, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm forgetting now. Anyway, I think I did watch it, but it obviously didn't stick with me at all.
Mutale says...
and I didn't love the one they did last year.
Mutale says that Lord Zedd's real name was Paul. Is that true?
If it is, that's the best thing ever.
Hi, I'm Paul.
So the big question I always had is, in the Zordon wave, when all the villains turn into good guys, are they turned back into what they used to look like, or are they generically turned into human beings that just have all the evil sucked out of them? Because I always assumed that Rita Repulsa looks like a human just with a weird outfit. So I don't know, maybe Zedd also just looked like a human, but if his name was Paul, that's amazing.
Well, that's kind of messed up though, if they just changed who they were into humans and forced them to be good.
I think it's kind of messed up in the first place though. You know, because you wipe away a person's history and everything that made them who they are, and you can't make the assumption that it takes them back to the good person they once were. You hope, and again, we're talking about Power Rangers, so this is very often not the case with villains. It seems like a lot of them are just born evil. But in the real world, or in actual dramatic traditional narrative fiction, you kind of hope that people come from a place. So if they are evil, if they are bad, maybe they weren't always a great person, but something got them to that extreme. And what makes them sympathetic is that you understand how they got to that place. And I think it's really insanely silly, and it always bugged me with the Zordon wave thing, at the end of Space, that that all the villains would have just been delightful, wonderful people who probably worked at soup kitchens on their planet.
Well, it wasn't all of them. That was the thing. The Machine Empire distinctly didn't get changed. So I don't know what... That
always felt retconning to me, though, because the way they talked about it, it was like it eradicated all of the evil in the universe, and then the next season we just kind of pretended like it didn't happen. Especially because the very next thing, sort of fits in Mighty Morphin continuity, but we're already starting to get past it.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't see them, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe we were just supposed to assume that they all got changed.
Well, I haven't watched that in a while, but I thought there was some discussion or voiceover or something that told us what was happening. And that it was it eradicated the evil. It wasn't just us seeing that happen. I thought there was something, told to us about it. But I always, I don't mind the idea that at one time whoever the guy was that became Lord Zedd wasn't a psychopath, sociopath. But the idea that he was just some nice dude named Paul.
Well, 559. OERS says his real name is Ed.
Well, that's certainly what Rito thinks.
That's Captain Logan's favorite.
And that
recurring
was not
gag.
I was tired of it by the second time it came up. But you got to remember that I grew up with that show, and I was tired of it back then. So as soon as it starts coming up when we're doing Morphomania, I'm like, come on! This joke is not funny. And it was never funny. And you can never tell if Rito's just messing with him, doing it on purpose, or if he's that dumb. Because a lot of those monsters are that dumb.
Oh yeah, especially by season 3.
And so was he just trying to get on his nerves? Or did he really just couldn't remember that his name was Zedd? Or did he just think it was kind of a cute nickname?
I don't know. Maybe he was just trying. Yeah, I think he's just trying to get on his nerves. Maybe. I don't know. But to go back to that 25th anniversary question with Ninja Steel,
Yeah.
I actually have seen some of it. I looked it up because that is the one where they, like I said earlier, I really like the ninja aesthetics, and they bring back the Ninja Steel Ranger and the Alien Ranger in that one. I don't know if they do it in the American version, but I looked it up on YouTube, and they do it in the Japanese version.
The
they
Ninja
bring back
Steel Ranger. What do you mean?
the Ninja Steel. They it's like an anniversary episode, so they bring back the other two ninja themed ones.
Oh, okay.
So they bring back the Ninja Storm.
Oh, Ninja Storm. You said Ninja Steel, and I was like, that's the show we're talking about. They brought back Ninja Storm. Is that what you're saying?
Ninja Storm, and then they brought back the Alien Rangers because they're ninja.
Okay, that I do remember them. They had that footage.
Yeah. So Mooners.
Yeah, and I would argue that was already starting to happen a little bit even before that. But you're right, and that's really funny. The honeymooners. Yeah. At the point where Zedd is fine with Rita and like is in love with her, and they just kind of treat it like a regular irritated married couple. He's not as much fun as he was. With this really menacing sounding voice, and this just absurd, completely incompetent villain that can't do anything right, and is as bad as Rita ever was when he came in to take over for her because she was terrible at her job. And I mean, that was always a problem, right? Like, we talked about that with Morphin Mania, DJ, where by the second or third time Zedd fails, he already looks like completely incompetent, and it's really silly for him to come back in and be like, Rita, you idiot! And then we talk about that with Master Vile, where Vile shows up and he's like, look, first time, no big deal. Like, second time, okay, and then third time he's like depressed because he sucks. It's so funny. It's the best.
I have to direct your attention to the chat because something hilarious is happening. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, I've been seeing it for about 3 or 4 minutes now.
Logan, Master Logan, Count Logan.
Now, we tried King Admiral Logan. Couldn't get used to it because not only were there several episodes where I would introduce myself as Captain Logan and totally forget that we changed the name, but the other thing was people didn't know what to call me. And like people I was working with didn't know what to call me because everybody called me Cab. And once we did the Admiral thing, it was like everybody just started calling me Logan, or just kept with Cab. And I mean, like I always answered to Logan, but Logan is technically not. I mean, it's not my first name. It's not like my actual. In real life, Logan is my middle name, and so we've always treated it like a last name. So nobody had anything to call me.
The uncanny Logan.
Sheriff
Superior Logan.
If we made a Western.
The amazing Loganini. Logandini? That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm going to go to this question.
President Logan.
We could do this all day.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna, too. I think it's just going to keep going on.
I like 00 Logan at the bottom.
That's hilarious.
Blue Dragon 5.
And my real name is James, so I've at least got that.
Blue Dragon 5 asks us a general question, which is cool. We can talk about this.
Yeah.
What is the appeal to you about Power Rangers as a concept? And we have very different reasons, so let's talk about this. It's always
such a difficult thing to answer, right? So the first and foremost thing is, at least at this time of my life, it's a nostalgic thing. It's a thing I grew up with. I watched it with my dad and my siblings, and it was, I guess, to try to figure out why I liked it at the time. It was bright and colorful, and the action was fun, and I liked superhero stuff in general. But I think a lot of it for me was the villains, because I didn't get into it until after Rita. And so, like, Zedd was my in. Because it's like, that is the coolest bad guy I've ever seen. You can see his brains, right? Like, who doesn't want a villain where you can see his brains? And it wasn't as... Oh, and then when I finally went back and saw Rita, I was like, she's lame. Who wants to watch her? She's lame. And it wasn't like a male versus female thing. Like, I liked Diva Talks okay. At least compared to anything else in that show. I mean, it was the thing that was cool about that show. But then the closest thing to a cool thing he had in that show was Diva Talks. But anyway, and then I don't think it was as cheeseball to me as it was later. Like I always got that it was a real corny show. But remember, I grew up on 60s Batman, and Power Rangers wasn't tongue in cheek in the same way. It wasn't a satire. Most of the time, we pointed out places where it does feel very satirical, but for the most part, it was not doing that on purpose. And I didn't get the Japanese footage thing, so I didn't have that in. I wasn't into Japanese stuff, and I always thought of myself as not a big connoisseur of Japanese things, but one of my favorite things was ripped off from a Japanese show, and I didn't realize it. I was never a big giant monster guy, so I didn't get super excited about Megazords, although they were fun to play with. Like, I always wanted a Megazord, but I didn't get excited about watching them. So when Zeo happened, and I got a Zeo Megazord for Christmas, that was one of the coolest gifts when I was a kid that I ever got. So, like, that was super exciting. But I wasn't a big Transformers guy. I wasn't about transforming robots and stuff. But anyway, so like I guess I guess that's my reason. And then DJ's a martial arts guy, so he's got like a totally different in.
Yeah, I'm a little bit younger than Cap, so it came out the year after I was born, so I obviously couldn't watch it while I was on, at least Mighty Morphin. But I had the VHS tapes, and I only had a few, but because they only put one stinking episode on a VHS tape. But I watched them over and over and over and over. And my parents were both
and they were probably
artists.
like $20.
Yeah, my parents are both martial artists. They owned a school. That was their business, so I was in it all the time.
So cool.
So I just loved watching them beat the crap out of puppies. Puppies, not puppies. Putties. Putties. If you haven't seen Power Rangers, they don't beat the crap out of puppies. They're called putties. We've lost Cap. I've killed him.
I tuned in every week to see the puppy fights. When you're unmorphed, you can fight the puppies because they're just puppies, like whatever. They're a little feral, you know. There's a little frothing around the mouth, but when the actual monster shows up, which is usually just a large dog, then you have to morph.
But yeah, so I always liked that. I always tell Cap I tuned out during the Megazord fights because they were all like big, bulky, and they couldn't barely move, so they weren't as interesting to me as a kid. I liked the acrobatics, I liked the martial arts and stuff. So yeah, very different reason from Cap, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's still very nostalgic for me.
And less long-winded. Is it the only thing that corny and cheeseball and like formulaic that you grew up and watched?
I mean, that I kept watching?
Yeah, I mean, was there any... Yeah, but when you were a kid, like, did you watch very many other things that were as mindless as Power Rangers was?
I don't think so, because...
Yeah, I didn't much either.
Yeah,
I watched Beetleborgs, but just because it was another Power Rangers, basically.
Yeah, basically.
And they had that comic book thing. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Beetleborgs. I can't remember what you told me.
I have. Yeah, the villains came out of the comic books.
Yeah, and that was what I thought was cool about that. I wasn't as into the whole like horror house thing.
Yeah, that was so weird. It was like robots mixed with like Universal monsters mixed with comics.
Yeah,
they just like threw everything at that one.
They went together like peanut butter and cornbread. It just didn't. Well, I guess you could put peanut butter on cornbread, but
yeah, I don't know. It'd be an interesting sandwich.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's anyway. Definitely why I wanted to get a suit. I've always wanted to get a suit so I could flip around and jump around in it. So I'm going to try that. I've never been in one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see or if I'm going to be able to move, but we're going to see if it works. It may have been a waste of money.
I have. Oh, I'm sure it won't be. I'm sure it'll be great. And you'll have me there to direct you around. I'll just make sure and wear something that I can see out of, and then I'll be like, "No, go that way." And then DJ will be like, "Well, being at this con and getting all this attention is great, but it's like being a blind person. I have no idea what's going on. Like, I feel like."
No, we got to get you to wear something. Hey, in the comments, tell us what. In the chat, tell us what Logan should wear.
Yeah, and I have not. I'd appreciate that because I haven't landed on anything yet. I've got ideas. Obviously, the thing I would most like to do is Lord Zedd. But like when I cosplayed as Spawn, I'd be a tiny Lord Zedd. I'd be a 5'6" Lord Zedd.
Hey, I mean, he doesn't have to be. He has like electricity powers and like gazer beams. He doesn't need to be tall.
That's true, but you expect that he's a very tall person.
Yeah, I mean. The Menace, I guess.
But, it would be because I'm sure you're taller than me. It would be really funny if I had a Zedd suit and I was just walking around with you at the con, and I've just got this alien ranger towering over me.
Yeah, because I'm kind of too tall to be a Power Ranger. If like full disclosure, like they're supposed not okay. I don't want to stereotype people, but not all Asian people are the same size. But they specifically chose martial artists and actors in the Japanese footage to be, shorter and leaner. And
I never even thought of that.
Yeah. So I'm like 5'11" and a half, almost 6 foot. So I'm gonna look kind of lanky.
So based on that, it's possible that Lord Zedd is still only like 5'11", 5'10" then.
Yeah, because the Rangers are. I'm pretty sure the Rangers are probably all like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
Okay. Because even Jason David Frank mentioned that, like, I think someone brought up why there was never like a chubby Ranger, or maybe they asked why there wasn't a bulky Ranger or something, and he mentioned that, like, obviously it's based on the Japanese show, and most of the performers are a certain size, and you have to fit into that, because he got kind of bulky for a while, and he had to lean up when he came back for that reunion episode that one time.
Yeah, a Sentai would have to cast it that way in the first place, and then we would have to cast a match. So if they ever had a Kid Ranger who was like 4 feet tall, then it would be silly, but we would have to cast a 4 foot tall person. But if we cast a 4 foot tall person, like we did with Justin in Turbo, then he's got to grow when he morphs.
Yeah, well, they've had several Kid Rangers. The Gold Ranger and the White Ranger are both Kid Rangers, but they do the same thing. They turn into men's bodies. Just still weird.
Yeah, it's still very strange.
They go through puberty every single time they morph, and then they go back. So since we're talking about the con, Sussy says, hopefully you get the chance to watch some anime with Johnny Young Bosch in it before you go. I have not seen any of that. I know he's like a big name in that.
Yeah, I've not bothered with it either. I know that he's done like 100 things. But I've met Bosch twice, and I've never watched any of his anime.
Wow, Mutali says.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't. I've never gotten around to it.
Mutali says, for some reason I thought DJ was 6'6". What? Do I look like I'm a giant? Maybe I should sit lower.
Yeah. Is it just the perspective of you versus the cases in the background?
Yeah, I am sitting in a chair.
No,
I'm not like just...
He's standing. I never assumed that DJ was super tall, but I assumed that he was taller than I am. But I assume that about most people that I work with on camera. I gotta tell you, the first time I met Eric in person, I was blown away by his size. Did not know how big Eric was. Because not only can you not really tell when a person is just sitting in a dark room, not lighting it hardly at all, which was most of the way I saw Eric, but also I only saw Eric on camera a handful of times before I met him, because usually we talk on the phone. He was audio for years. For at least 5 or 6 years of our relationship, I didn't know what he looked like, except for like maybe a picture.
So that
at least the first 2 or 3, I didn't know at all what Eric looked like. But I never knew how tall he was. And then when I met him, I was like, oh, you're gonna live in my basement, and we have very low ceilings, and this might not be a good thing. There is a place in the basement right back here, so right outside of Eric's door, where he has to be really careful when he comes out, because he will hit his head. And I have watched him do that no fewer than a dozen times, and it never gets old.
It's like Elf.
And he's been here 3 years.
Man, what was I going to say?
I'm sorry, Eric. You're living in a Hobbit house. I did not mean for you to have to live in a Hobbit house.
Someone says you should be the villain from Time Force. Wakes says you should be the villain from Time Force.
Okay. See, I feel like I'm not big enough for that either. Like I'd have to kind of bulk up.
Stussy says Captain Logan from Time Force, obviously.
Yeah, well, and I was gonna do that for the last MorphCon, but I gotta have somebody sew that jacket. And I've got a friend of mine is a seamstress who does some work for me on Spawn Year, and she was going to do it, and she got too busy, and she couldn't work on it. So if sometime between now and then she gets freed up enough where she can do it, we might talk about it. There are patches that you can buy for that suit, so we wouldn't have to custom make everything, but there are bits of it that we would have to custom make. So, yeah.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. I didn't see Eric for the first time until his Pepper Challenge review.
Yes.
And I really wish now that I said that was the only video he left on his channel.
That would have been great.
He privated every other video and just left the Pepper video on
the whole channel. He's got like 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers. It's for this Pepper video.
Oh, we got to tell him to do that.
And then what would happen is people just leave comments on the channel and be like, you got to do more of these Pepper things. And then then they would hope that he would make a channel with nothing but Pepper reviews. Okay, this week I'm going to fry my mouth again as we talk about Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. And it's like 6 minutes long talking about The Dark Knight Returns, trying to eat ghost peppers.
Oh. That sounds like.
But yeah,
torture.
Eric's like 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah,
People are
he's a big
asking.
dude. Pretty big dude. You
Yeah.
kind of surround yourself with big dudes. Aaron Dicer is really big. Vince was, I think, tall. I don't know how tall Vince is.
Vince is not 6 foot. I think he is 5'11",
Oh,
maybe. He's not super tall, but yeah, that's true. But that's, bound to happen when you're as small as I am.
oh, come on! Don't be self-deprecating, man. You're Captain Logan.
I'm not. I'm just
Sworn
saying I'm small.
emperor of all that is evil. And what is Lord Zedd's moniker? Do you remember it?
He's, yeah,
Something like that.
of all that is good and right or something. I can't remember, but it's great. Yeah, I'm 5'6".
Oh, perfect time. Mutali asks,
Why don't you rub it in, Mutali?
would you have, would you have loved to have seen Lord Zedd in the Power Rangers 2017 movie?
Yeah, although setting up that world starting with Rita, it's maybe not fair to immediately force Zedd in there. If you're trying to do like a reimagined straight up reboot, but you're trying to have to be kind of respectful to what came before and kind of represent that. Yeah, I guess you want to start with Rita. There were a lot of people that thought that Zedd would likely be the after credit scene if it wasn't Tommy. Yeah. The Tommy thing was like the single most obvious thing, next to the Ghostbusters Zool thing. Like, it was so obvious. But yeah, I mean, I would have liked him to have been in the sequel. I would have liked a mention of him because if there's any connection to Rita and Zedd like there was supposed to be in the original series, which is completely retroactive, it would have been nice to get out in front of it and say, I mean, her background's different, so it wouldn't be like Zedd sent me here to take over the Earth, but if they had any prior connection, it would have been nice to get in front of it and tell us about it. And what's really interesting, and I cannot anymore, I wish I'd screen grabbed it at the time and I didn't, but so I don't know if this was somebody just making up something or if they got this from somewhere or what exactly it was. So take all of this with a grain of salt because I don't know what the source was. I don't know who wrote this, but the Wikipedia page for the 2017 movie, the day the movie came out, in the synopsis, had a mention of Zedd. And it wasn't that he was supposed to be in the movie, but it was something about the background with Zordon. There was a mention of Zedd along with the mention of the Zeo Crystal. And the Zeo Crystal is in the movie, but Zedd is never mentioned. And so there's reason to believe that may have come from like a press junket or something that I never heard of or saw, and then got removed after somebody saw the movie and realized that mention wasn't there. But we can tell that about half that movie was cut out of that movie, and there's every possibility that Zedd had a mention at one time and that they cut it out.
Yeah, I really like what they did with Rita making her a ranger. I think that was cool. Someone else mentioned that he could have been like the Thanos of that universe. I don't know if he would have wanted to wait that long, but at least maybe like at the third movie, or I don't know. Maybe. And
what's really funny is the version I always wanted to do with Zedd. That was he was very much like Thanos.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So I guess I would have liked to have seen that as well.
I'm going to jump to super chats because we have not gotten to those yet, and we're almost.
Oh goodness, let's do that. Yeah.
But I do have.
Yeah, we're halfway through the show.
Axelrod's IMDb page pulled up,
yes.
And I'm looking through, and I want to talk a little bit about that in a second. But let's go back to super chats. First one was from Duan Patterson Powers. He says, "How do you feel about the retcons like Spawn and the MCU, etc., Captain Marvel? Do you have any retcons you like?" I think he means, and do you have any retcons you like?
Man, putting me on the spot with that. Yes, I mean, I may have a difficult time immediately coming up with stuff right here while we're talking, but there sometimes, and I think I've been asked this before, but sometimes you'll get retcons that you kind of just can't get around, where something was impossible to write forward with or was just so bad that you were either going to have to completely start over or something, because it was just too awful to have to keep working with. So like, I hate it when stuff is insanely retroactive, but I like it. So like, that's my problem with Captain Marvel and the cat thing and all of that, is it just feels like unnecessarily retroactive, and it doesn't mesh with what came before, and you have to ignore whole swaths of things. You have to ignore everything about that character in Winter Soldier to make that work, and it bugs me because it's the only place where I think he's a really interesting character. Avengers, he begins to become that, and then he's great there, and that moral ambiguity doesn't seem to come from any kind of a place, and so we never get to find out what that is, and then we turn the personification, or not personification, but like the physical embodiment of it into a joke. So I hate stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, with specifically Spawn, I think you kind of have to just totally reboot and start over. But if you wanted to retcon everything, or like retcon a lot of stuff, like we did, boy, I'm rusty. I'm going back in my memory to my Spawn Here days. This is 5 years ago now. But there's a place where we basically reset the whole universe with the whole like baby god and devil nonsense, and like everything gets wiped away. And like Al Simmons still has his memories, and like there's a few people that have their memories, but like everything basically gets wiped away. And that was a really great. There was great potential after that for that universe to start making sense and be cohesive and move forward and not constantly be about the origin and background, and it immediately screwed that up in like 10 issues, naturally. And so sometimes it's necessary, sometimes you gotta. But I'm having a hard time immediately coming up with just like great retcons.
Yeah.
But you know, you got really awful things like One More Day, where it's like, surely we could have come, like, if the marriage had to get wiped away, and I like the marriage, so I kind of hated that we did that, but like, if the Spider-Man marriage had to get wiped away, surely you could have come up with something that was less blatant and kind of, you know, just threw away, you know, a couple of decades of continuity. Surely you could have done something.
All right, I can't wait to read this next one.
Yeah,
this is from
go ahead.
Bella AC. My gosh, James, with the way you look tonight, it's a good thing I brought my library card because I can't stop checking you out.
Yeah, that person's trolling me. Thanks for the super chat. They're
$5 super chat.
Yeah, they're using my wife's picture. I don't love that.
Oh, I didn't see the picture.
Yeah,
I just copied the name.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
so no, that's okay. But we'll move on from that. I'm being trolled there.
All right. I may not read yours again, Mr. Troll person. All right. T-Edge1 gives us a super chat, a great super chat. Says, Geekvolution just got announced as the theme of the next incarnation of Power Rangers. What do the Zords look like, and who from Geekvolution is in what role? Example, who would be the Zordon, Zedd, and Rangers? Oh, this is a great question.
That's fun. So I don't think there's any great way to do this, like where you wouldn't be stealing licensed material. Like, because Geekvolution is all about reviewing pop culture stuff. So the Zords would all have to be pop culture things. And so there'd be no way to do it without copyright infringement. But, like, I think each of those Zords would have to be connected to something that we're all big fans of, and you'd take like the closest thing to a giant robot or to like some kind of a vehicle or something that we all like, and you just throw them all together. So Vince would have like an Ecto-1 Zord, and then like Eric would have maybe a Transformer Zord, or wouldn't it be great if he had a Zord that also turned into something else? You know, it was almost like a mini Megazord, but then it came into the Megazord, or maybe a Gundam. He'd probably put in a Gundam, and then I'd probably have like a Batwing. I'd be on the back with like a Batwing. You know, I'd be the Tommy of the group. So like you couldn't get anything accomplished unless I showed up, and then I'd come in with my '89 Batwing, and it would go on the back of it. I don't know what the head would be.
Yeah, I don't know what I would be. My favorite characters are always the smart ones, like Billy in the Power Rangers and Donatello in Ninja Turtles, but I don't know if I would actually. I don't actually know how to build things, so I don't know if I. But if we're just pretending, I would probably be the nerdy one, I guess. You could have
like a turtle blimp.
Yeah, turtle blimp. Yeah, you're just waiting for me to slowly connect to the Megazord.
Well, it's got rockets in the back.
That's true. Or I could be like the Adam one, because Adam was kind of like shy and quiet. That's kind of what I am.
No, but Dan would be Zordon. It wouldn't be Vince. It would be Dan, because he'd be Zordan. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Who would you? So you said you'd be the leader.
Yeah, I'd probably but I would be the leader that doesn't come in for a while. You know, like somebody else would run it for a while.
Yeah, well, your whole defining character trait would be that you like basketball.
Oh. Not that I play it, I just watch it constantly.
Yeah. That was a double reference for you people. That was a Morphin Mania reference and a Caplex basketball reference.
Yeah, well done. And we haven't even gotten to space yet where they play basketball all the time.
That's true. They have like a hoop on the. Well, they play basketball in Mighty Morphin too. A
No,
couple
I know,
times.
but they play it like religiously on space.
Oh, that's brilliant. Mutale says I do know how to weld things, so that's right. I
See,
would be.
there you go. You'd be the welding guy.
It's
I think
perfect.
Eric would be more of the Billy of the group because Eric has all this like random pop culture knowledge and like
Yeah, yeah,
and like he knows everything about pop culture. So we would translate that into the guy that knows everything.
yeah. I'll stick with the quiet, brooding. What's his face type? His
You'd
name is
be
just completely
you'd be the
escaped me.
Adam of the group.
Adam.
You'd be-
Yeah, I'll be
yeah.
Adam. So who would I don't know who else we got. We got
No. Just come out and say it. Who would the girls be? That's clearly what you're. Like I guess my wife would be there.
Sarah would be someone.
Yeah. I don't know what her sword would be either. She'd have a starship, I guess,
Okay.
like a really tiny starship or like a
Jason.
shuttlecraft.
Jason could be the Justin character.
Oh, right? Yeah, where he morphs and then he gets really super tall.
Although you have 3 kids now, so you can't just like pick one. Maybe they have to be a certain age first before they can join the ranks.
Yeah, we've never had a baby ranger.
Yeah, we'd be a
Like
pretty
a
male heavy
1-year-old.
team. Maybe we're one of the seasons with just 3 starters.
Yeah, that'd be good. All right, let's keep going.
All right.
What else we got, sir?
We have 4 more super chats.
Okay.
Let me ask one regular, and then I'll jump back to those. Hey guys, are you planning to review the 2017 Power Rangers movie for Superhero Rewind in the future?
Yes, definitely. But not both of us.
Yes, I'm not
Because-
going to. No, we're not going to start all of a sudden 2 people.
We're not gonna
again
tag team
on-
it. You can write half of it. Which half would you like to write?
Well, the beginning is much better than the end, so I
Oh,
could write the
okay.
end because it's so terrible.
No, I'm
I
happy to
just-
write the end. That sounds easy. You gotta do all the character stuff, and then I write like 3 paragraphs.
Me and Cap did do
Where I'm like-
a commentary on this video. I don't think it's on the channel, but it was great, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And that'll tie into the announcement, which we'll make
We're
at
gonna
the
make
end of
it.
this video.
We're gonna make,
So
an,
stay
make an
tuned.
announcement at the end of the show. So nobody panic. That video will be public eventually. But
Those dials.
yeah, I don't have a timetable for that yet, but I do want to do it sooner rather than later. I'll just say that. I got lots of stuff to say about that movie, and it won't be a short one. I have a lot to say, so that is liable to be a 45-50 minute video.
We could talk about this for a second. Stussy says, "What would Power Rangers need to do to be successful on film, considering that the previous films didn't do so well at the box office?"
Yeah. Don't go to the theater. Be a Netflix thing. That's the first thing I'm gonna throw out. I mean, I would like to see a more adult Netflix show. And when I say more adult, I mean I want my kids to be able to watch it, but I want it to have the kind of character dimension development that the 2017 movie was attempting. It didn't all work. There was some drawing stuff out of a hat. There was some, characters that seemed kind of random, where it's like, oh, and you're gonna be into this. All right. But it didn't necessarily seem like totally organic, right?
Well, somebody posted the Honest trailer in the Secret Society.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but they drop like they do that. They it's like they pulled him out of a hat, and they're
Yeah.
like, "You're gonna be yoga practicing, metal music listening lesbian girl."
Yeah,
It's like-
yeah, exactly. It's so random.
It's like we got to make them complex, so we got to give them completely different interests so that they're real people.
Yeah, they don't mesh together at all. But then, yeah, and I'm not a huge Honest Trailer fan, but I like that one because you get to the end and they go crispy, creamy Power Rangers.
I haven't even watched the whole thing. I just saw the beginning, but yeah, it was really funny.
That might be the obvious way to go, but I don't care. It's hilarious. But anyway, yeah. So as far as getting people to go to the, because I think there is, we'll go back to what I was saying earlier. I think there is certainly an audience for more sophisticated Power Rangers and for an ongoing story, a serialized narrative. And Power Rangers was always weirdly serialized, but like a serialized narrative that could keep up with itself and that wasn't contradicting itself constantly. But I knew what the rules were. It is very telling that when you look up Power Rangers online right now, just kind of generically, and you're doing like Google image searches or you just search it on Google, you see so much comic book stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really telling. I'm not saying that a ton of people have read that, because the numbers aren't great as far as sales go until you get to the beginning of Shattered Grid, and then right after that it fell off. Both people buying it and also the story, because it is ultimately not great. But people were really interested in Draken, and people were really interested in a more adult Power Ranger series, and it was a step in the right direction. And the Go-Go is awesome, and Go-Go is like Buffy level sophistication for Power Rangers. And the guy that's writing Go-Go is also finally writing the main series. He's doing both, and I'm only an issue into his new run of the regular Power Ranger series, but that is very exciting. And I think all of this could eventually maybe lead us to that, and I think there's an audience for it. As far as big screen Power Rangers goes, I don't know. I don't think that last movie was marketed right, and I don't think it could have been, because it had a big marketing campaign. You cannot fault Lionsgate for that. They made sure everybody knew about it. It was everywhere. And I heard a lot of people say, talking about it, and were like, do you know about the Power Rangers movie? And I think a lot of those people didn't go see it, because Power Rangers, first and foremost, is a toy commercial, and you can do both. And I've always said this, but you gotta do both. And when you make toys that nobody wants to buy, and I had read that the sales figures on those toys were great, and I don't believe them. I don't believe that. I still see them on store shelves 3 years later. There's no way they sold well, and they were awful. They didn't make a movie that was conducive to selling toys, and that makes it very difficult to sell that movie. You got to get the butts in the seats with the superficial stuff, and then deliver the great story, and that's what will get people to come back. So this might sound really strange coming from me. I'm prudish story character guy. I want Power Rangers of all things to be a character study. I'm real prudish like that. You have to get the superficial stuff right. You have to. You have to lead with it. And then maybe you can get butts in the seats. And even then, DJ, I don't know if there's a big enough audience to do the numbers that they would want. That movie wanted to compete with Marvel Cinematic. And it's not, you're not going to have, even with as many Power Rangers fans as there are, and even with as many people as are nostalgic for the original series, you cannot make a $100 million Power Ranger movie. I think you have to find a way to do it with half that. I think if you could make a $50 million Power Ranger movie and your sights were set on 250 to 300 million, and that was successful, I think that's doable. But I do not think you should try to make the $1 billion Power Ranger movie. Not right now.
The problem is you'd have to do models, and I don't think any studio would take a chance with that, because everyone thinks it has to be computer generated,
and they would look better.
Zords.
We should do it with models. Absolutely. But the way you get more people to go than did last time is to actually get the nostalgia crowd that you thought you were going to get with the last one, while you didn't make it look anything like Power Rangers. You put, and like, you can be more streamlined with it, and obviously you can make it look more like you're putting more money behind it than it did when we were kids, but the production values obviously need to be higher, but it's gotta look like that show. And
it
that's
has to be
big mistake
fun.
they made. Yeah.
Like that first movie, I like a lot of stuff in the beginning, but it was not.
And it's so dated, and it was
Rangers.
dated when we went to it, because it just wanted to be Chronicle.
Yeah, that's the problem, is I'm worried that they're gonna, like, this is kind of, neither of us like this movie, but they're gonna have to go the Ragnarok route.
Yeah.
And Guardians, it's gonna have to be that kind of movie, just with like a story like the first Guardians. Yeah, but
that could work better with Power Rangers. I mean, that's not exactly what I want.
But what I'm worried about is they're going to take so long, because they took so long with this, getting this off the ground, that it was out of style by the time they made it. And if they wait so long for this, by the time Ragnarok and Guardian style might be out of date.
So you're saying the fad that they would have to cash in on may no longer be yeah. But it looks like that's going to stick around longer, because Endgame has some of that humor. A lot of people are liking that kind of humor. It's permeating really hard right now, and has continued to gradually over the last several years. So yeah, as much as I am loath to admit it, I think you're right. But you can do that kind of comedy and still have a relatively sophisticated Power Rangers movie. Like if the folks that think that Power Rangers, or excuse me, that think that the MCU right now is like not serious enough and isn't taking itself seriously enough. If the movies they were making were Power Ranger movies, everybody would think it was brilliant. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Because everyone loves them. It was like 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I don't know. It can also look like Ragnarok and not have people smashing into things and getting hit in the face with stuff. Like that bright, vibrant colors and that style is what it needs.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna jump back to super chats because we got.
And they'd be good toys, and people would buy the merchandise. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also bring back some actors to give it clout with the fans, right? Have bring back the original Zordon. There's no reason not to do that. You can have your star power someplace else. And I'm not saying that I didn't love the choice, Cranston for the last one, but if you don't do stunt casting for certain characters that could just either voiceover characters they did in the first place, or could come back and play other characters. Like let Jason David Frank play a bad guy or something. People would love that. They would eat it up with a spoon.
Oh, I would not love that, but yes, you're right.
I don't mean the bad guy, but he could be a henchman or something. I don't think he should be like the main big bad, but like I don't know, cast him as Goldar or something. Like there's no good reason not to bring in a couple of the big names and give them prominent roles, but not have to just be cameos, but not necessarily too prominent roles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that would get a lot of people excited. Wakes is going to continue us feeling awkward and gives us a super chat to say, "What it do, baby? Sexiest Pink Ranger boys, tell me."
So are you just done with your job after this? He's like, why do I have to read these things?
I have to read them. They're super chats, guys.
Yeah, so obviously like what people find attractive is very subjective. But did you have a Pink Ranger crush? Did you ever have that? If we have to answer that question, I mean, we can go there.
I don't know if I had a crush, but my favorite female Ranger is not pink. It's yellow Kira from Dino Thunder.
Oh yeah, she would be in my top 3.
And then
absolutely.
Yeah, and then my second favorite is Tori from Ninja Storm, but she's blue. So I guess the Pink Ranger would have to be.
He just doesn't like Pink Rangers. He's not. And obviously, I love Kimberly, and more as it goes along. I don't feel like anybody improved more as an actor or an actress as that went along than she did. But I love Kat. Kat was always my favorite.
That's true. That wasn't a season I saw a lot of, so I didn't really have much experience with Kat. But ironically, it's my favorite season.
You've seen it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen every episode, guys. None of them are aired on the channel, but we did every episode.
Okay. What else?
All right. Mr. Weeping Dalek says, super chat, Cap, have you considered writing stand-up and sketch?
I have. In fact, since I was a kid, when I was 11 or 12, my dream job was a comedian. It now continues to be game show host, which has still never happened, but that continues to be my...
Don't lose faith, man. Keep the hope.
But yeah, people have to start caring about game shows again. But with but yeah, I always wanted to do that. I'm not great at that kind of writing. I can do comedy writing, but it has to be within story context. So I've never come up with like the great bit where I thought it would make sense for me to go on stage and try to stand up. But I always thought I might have potential. I might be able to get away with it, but I've never come up with a great routine.
Cool.
But yeah.
Reptile Dude 21, if you're still in the chat, give us a little clarification on this one because I'm not quite sure what you mean. But he says, "Have you seen the new Power Rangers action figures?" Do you think he's talking about the?
He's probably talking about Hasbro, yeah.
The really articulated ones that you have some of, I think.
No. He's probably talking about Hasbro because Hasbro just put out their first wave.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Cool. I don't have any yet. The Lord Zedd just came out. And I want to get that as soon as I can, but I haven't gotten around to it. And I've not seen those a lot yet in stores. Obviously, I kind of miss Toys R Us. But where did I see that first? I think it was at someplace at the mall. Maybe it was at a GameStop or something. I have seen the Red Ranger and Zedd up close, but I haven't bought any yet.
Cool.
they look good, but they don't look any better than what we had before, in my opinion. Like, there's only so many ways you can make characters that we've seen in action figure form 5,000 times, though. So yeah, they're really articulated and they look great, but they're on the same level as Bandai. So I mean, that's good.
Okay. I might have to see those. Get one of those if they're cheap. I've always wanted the fig arts. Have you looked at those?
Yeah.
Oh, those are awesome.
Yeah,
They're like
those are cool.
$150. And I'm
It's
like,
nuts.
oh, I can't justify spending that for a Power Ranger.
Speaking of figures that are over $100, I got a text from Vince today, who always keeps me in the loop when he finds out about Batman Funko stuff he thinks I don't know about. And he sent me a list of new Batman Pops that are coming out. And one of them, so I collect, as some of you guys know, every Batman Pop. So if it's Bruce Wayne or Batman or a Batman character with bat ears, I have to buy. So I buy all the Batgirls too. They are putting out a 19-inch Batman Pop. They're putting out this massive Batman Pop. It's going to be $99.
Oh my goodness.
And I cannot even believe that I'm entertaining buying that, but I have most of them, and I've always bought the Batman Pops. And maybe I could draw the line at that and be like, well, off this regular scale, but I'm probably going to do it. Isn't that insane?
That is. But yeah, do you, man, as the kids say these days.
So was I right? Is that what he was talking about?
He was talking about the Lightning Collection. I don't know if they're the same thing as you.
I think that's the same thing. I'm not sure.
Cool. I can look it up, but real quick, I'll ask DeJuan's last super chat of the evening.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Someone pops another one in here. How do you feel about the term Mary Sue or Gary Stew?
Yeah, we've talked about that some here, but I'll answer that briefly, and thanks so much for the super chat. So I think that's one of those things that's gotten really overused. We get to where sometimes the terms that meant something at one time don't mean as much now. So there's characters that if they seem too powerful to someone, even if their powers can be explained, they like to immediately go to that term. I think there are characters that are called that where it's not warranted. I think there's other times where there's characters that are called that and it is. I like to stay away from that term because it seems hyperbolic to people. Like, even if it's totally warranted, as soon as you say that, you start opening up a can of worms with people where it basically just means if you call a female character a Mary Sue or a Mary Sue, it means you don't like a character I like, and so how dare you? You know what I mean? Where you like, if you think a character is basically just a plot device where, like, they have to be absolutely perfect in order to move the story along, or because we're afraid for whatever, like, politically driven reasons or whatever you think it is to let that character be flawed, that they are a Mary Sue, you gotta then break it down and talk about the details and why that is. And I think sometimes we don't do that. So, like, people said that about Rey in Force Awakens, and I said we need time. We need to see what's coming after it. I can't call her a Mary Sue yet because I don't know why she is able to use the Force as well as she is without being trained. Everything is a mystery. We make a big deal out of the fact that we don't know, and then we get to Last Jedi, and then it's much easier to call her that because none of those answers are given to us. So that one might be warranted, but I want to wait until that whole trilogy is done before I'm going to lob that at it. I certainly will call Michael Burnham a Mary Sue from Sergeant Discovery, because she seems perfect for no good reason. She's the main character of the show, and so she can do no wrong. I really, really hate, and she's good at everything. That kind of thing drives me absolutely insane. So yeah, it's a term that we didn't used to have. Like, we used to just say this character's a plot device, this character's overpowered, and now that we have a word for it, people like to immediately jump down your throat and go, oh, that's hyperbolic if you use it. So I kind of stay away from it.
Cool. All right, we're almost out of time, but I want to close with a couple questions here. First of all, I looked at the collection, and they look awesome. There is a Magna Defender and a Shadow Ranger. And
yes,
I really want them.
I forgot about the Magna Defender. Yeah. Do we have any more super chats?
No, that is the last one.
Okay, cool.
I just wanted to mention real quick. A couple people have asked us if you played the Battle of the Grid game.
I have.
Yeah, and we really need to play that game at some point. Hopefully, we can do that for you guys.
I like it a lot.
Sometime.
It's deeper than I ever thought it could be. It just doesn't have enough of a character selection. And even with some of the new downloadable characters,
Have you
It
played
started
since
with
they added
9.
Zedd?
I haven't. I need to go back to
Okay,
it. It
gotcha.
started with 9. They now have what, 11 or 12? What,
I'm not sure. I still
whatever
don't
it
have it.
is. Oh, you don't have it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a budget game. It's nice and cheap. It's like 15 or 20 bucks. So it's great for that. It's just, look, I could live with a 9 or 12 character count game for Power Rangers if it was all just Mighty Morphin or if it was all just some other series, right? The fact that you make a big deal out of it's the culmination, it's everything, and you've only got 9 characters, that's lame. Any way you slice it, that's lame.
Yeah, and you just hope that they can keep going long enough to get a good set.
Yeah, but how long would it take at the rate they're going to get a good roster? Because even 20 is not going to feel like enough. I mean, I don't mean to sound ungrateful or whatever, but you got 25 years of a series that by its very nature always has a ton of characters, and you're never going to be able to put enough in that you can satisfy everybody that has a favorite show, right? Worse than that is that like almost half, I guess 1/3 of your initial character roster were new characters from the comics that did not exist in the shows. There's no excuse for that, and that's coming from a big fan of those comics. But like, if you're gonna do that, make a comic game. You know, I got no problem with that. I play that, but that's what they should have done: is just make a game based on the comics. If 1/3 of your 9 character roster is gonna be that.
I'm with you there because I haven't read those, and those I just don't get as excited about those characters. But I will say there will never be an Alien Ranger in that game because the mobile phone game has like 50 characters, and they've borrowed from every single season except for the Alien Rangers.
Those are my favorites. And here's the thing: I do appreciate the fact that they don't have characters that are just skins of other characters. So like they are building new characters from the ground up whenever they add one. So like I get that, but. And I get that it's a budget game, but how expensive is it really to like if they're continuing to support it? I just don't understand why they couldn't have had more characters.
I don't know if it's as expensive. It's time consuming to create different move sets for every single character. I kind of wish they would do some skins.
But that just tells me, yeah, and there are a couple, but that just tells me that they weren't ready to put it out yet. Just give it another year and add a few more characters. Like, I can understand opening with 15 and then making some more after that, but, you know, I'm not saying I need 30 at the start. But I also think that if you can't open with at least 15, you probably should have scaled down, like the subject in the first place. And not make it all of Power Rangers.
I wouldn't like this, but just do a comic game if that's the most popular thing right now.
That's what I'm saying. Yep.
So yeah, hopefully I can get a chance to play that in the future and tell you guys what I think.
It's cheap.
But Cap definitely has. Yeah. I don't like getting fighting games unless I have someone to play with them. That's the thing.
That's fair. That's why you have kids, man. Just give it a few years.
Yeah, a few years. He's one right now.
Because I buy a lot more fighting games now than I used to. Because I got Jason. We play fighting games all the time. I just bought a new fight stick.
Cool.
For my 360, and I found out that there's an adapter I can get to make it work on my PS4. It's not a cheap adapter, but it'll be worth it when I do it. And so I've got 2 fight sticks now for the 360. So I have like a dozen fighting games on that system because I've got fight sticks for it. It's great. But I got the Marvel vs. Capcom one, the really heavy-duty one that looks like you could probably run it over with a truck and it would be fine. I'm not going to try it, but I think you probably could. It's awesome.
There's a video idea. All right, you ready for announcements? You ready to make an announcement?
Let's do it.
All right, I apparently, guys, am making this announcement. So thank you guys for how many people we got with this. Who stuck with us all the way through? I don't even know. Anyway,
yeah, I don't have a great way to oh, you know what? I could probably actually
the view counter on the screen never works.
No, it doesn't work. That's why we don't use it anymore. I apparently 30 according to the live dashboard.
Sweet. All right. Well, you special 30 viewers will get this very important, highly sought after information first and foremost.
It's the Lord Zedd show. I didn't expect a giant turnout.
So we are bringing back Morphin Mania, guys. Woo!
Yeah,
so excited.
We sure are.
For the 4 of you that are interested, it will be coming back to a YouTube channel near you, but not this one.
Not this one.
We are starting our very own Morphin Mania YouTube channel, if that name is not taken, but I think you can do multiple names now because of the way they do names at this point. So either way, Morphin Mania is coming to a computer screen near you, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to upload. First of all, we're going to go back and upload all the previous episodes. Then we're going to get caught up because we still haven't uploaded like a season and a half that we shot. And then we're going to get cracking on the latest and greatest episodes from 1995.
And we're going to go
Finish up
through
Xeno.
at least the Mighty Morphin era. We haven't decided how often we're going to shoot and stuff, so if it goes well, if we build a decently sized audience there, and decently sized, in my mind, is like a couple of hundred, because it's a real niche thing, and it's us just kind of BSing through Power Ranger episodes. We don't even make sure that we've ever seen them before. We're really just watching Power Rangers together and talking about it. But I want to keep the Mania concept with it, since that's how we've always done it. And so, like if we get a decent enough group and we just feel like continuing it, we might make more after the Mighty Morphin era, but it's not going to come out as often as it did. So even though we're still using the Mania name, it's not going to be a daily show once we get back to regularly making them. We will probably put it out at that rate, getting the old ones up.
Yeah, we could do that.
We don't want to post them all at once.
This is just going to be kind of like something
hit
like when we get time, we'll do a few. This is something we really want to do, so hopefully you guys are excited about it, because we kind of are.
We very much are. I mean, we're doing it just for us, and hoping there's some other folks that want to do it, because I don't like leaving stuff unfinished. That was the thing that we decided to do in lieu of a lot of you guys don't even know about this. So I don't know if I've ever spoken publicly about this outside of the Secret Society, but I'll mention it here. So we had Spawn Year. I was working on a sequel to Spawn Year, which was Batcap: The 48-Hour Halloween. That I had to shut down for various reasons that I've talked about in a lot of different places. And I've wanted to bring it back in some form at some point, but one step at a time. We're going to go back and finish Morphomania, and I might at some point figure out a way to do that, but it will have to be like remade if I do it, because the story I was telling cannot be done, especially with the ages my kids are now, etc. But the other reason that story can't really be told is because it was a gap. It was a middle. It was a bridge. It was a gap bridger between Spawn Year and Morphin Year, and we were going to do Morphin Year, and I had a whole story planned out for that. And the bad guy from Batcap was going to be revealed to be an evil Power Ranger from another universe. And that's where Zordan, that idea came from. And he murdered Zordan in another universe, and came here to try to use me to help him with an army of Captain Logans that he made through cloning technology that Dan had in Spawn Year. And we were supposed to review everything that ever existed to try to make everyone think like Captain Logan. That was the villain's evil plot. And I may use something akin to that if I'm ever able to get back to Batman Year, but Morphin Year will not happen now, because it was too ambitious, and there's a lot of stuff I wanted to do with it that I just would not have been able to get together in a timely fashion. And there's other stuff I want to do. So anyway, that's the reason that I really want to finish Morphin Year or Morphomania, because that whole Morphin Year idea I loved and I always wanted to do, and this was the thing we were doing instead, and then we never finished it, and so it's got to get done.
All right. Well, I'm excited, and I'm sure we'll do an announcement video when that channel's live, so we can send people over that way.
Yes, of course.
At some point. So
naturally,
cool.
Man, and I didn't get a chance to talk about, and I'm not gonna do it now because we're at the end of the show, but somebody earlier, and I forgot to mention it to you, somebody earlier asked me to talk about my my plans, what I would have done with a Lord Zedd backstory, and we never got around to it. So maybe one of these days I'll tell that story too. But
yeah, we could shoot a video about that, if like a separate thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah, or if it just comes up on another live show.
Okay, yeah, we could do that too. All right, guys, I would like to close with my very own question for Cap.
Oh man,
I want to know.
All right,
I want to know if he has heard about this. It's not Power Rangers related, but I heard about it today. There is a Jurassic World short film debuting this Sunday on FX.
What? I didn't know about this.
It is called Battle at Big Rock. It takes place a year after Fallen Kingdom. It is the first interaction. Yeah, it's the first interaction between humans and dinosaurs after Jurassic House.
Man, it better be velociraptors.
It's only 8 minutes. It is people. What I've heard about it is it's people camping in the woods, because that's what you would do after you've heard that dinosaurs are being released into the wild. And
well, maybe they're hoping to meet dinosaurs. Maybe that's why they're doing it.
Well, what I don't understand, this could be a whole video. I don't understand how it's been a year and this is the first big interaction between people and dinosaurs. Like, there's been sightings, but no one has met. I don't understand that.
I
But
don't either.
apparently, they're using two dinosaurs that have never been used in any of the Jurassic Park films. So no
Oh.
raptors.
Well, that's
But they are going to
disappointing.
be big
I don't care
animatronics.
anymore.
Okay.
No,
well, he doesn't care.
no, I
See you guys
do.
later.
I do. I will totally watch that. That's crazy that they're doing that.
Yeah, it's really weird. I think it's the same director that's like getting ready to do the third one, and he just did this little short.
Is it still? What's his name?
The guy, I think it is. Yeah.
I can't remember that guy's name. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm excited for that, but I'll definitely take a look at it. That's wild. Dragon Vibe says Cap's got it bad for raptors. I do. And you guys probably think I just play it up for the channel. DJ will tell you I love Velociraptors.
It's not an act, guys.
Is it Trevorrow? I almost said that, but I wasn't sure if I was right. Is it Colin Trevorrow? Is that his name?
I think so. I think it's the same guy.
I actually don't know why I know that, but
Because you love Jurassic House. It's your
I
favorite
do.
film.
It's my favorite bat film. Absolutely it is. It's amazing. Well, anyway, folks, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again next time. I'm Captain Logan, and this was DJ Martinez.
Sorry, I interrupted my own introduction.
That's all right. We will see you next time, folks.